Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you? Um, I've been reminiscing a lot lately about things that I've learned over the years, time that I spent with people more elderly, people older than I am, more experienced than I am. Some of my closest friends are older than I am and more experienced, and I glean a lot of knowledge from them and a lot of experience, and I like to tap into their knowledge and to share from their wealth of knowledge, and also to share my experiences as well, because life is evolving and there's a lot that you can learn, a lot we can learn from people who come after us as well. And I remember that my dad, specifically, sometime in 2004 or thereabout, I remember at some point he just called me up and asked me what my goals were. And he said, "What are your goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals?" And I started reading up, listing off some things, and I just, blah, 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 I want to do this, want to do that, blah, 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 blah. He says, "Okay, good, go write it down." He said, "Go get a book, paper, whatever, pen, write it down. Write your short-term goals, anything you want to achieve between now and the next 5 years. And then your long-term goals, anything that you want to achieve after 5 years, up until 10 years or whatever, or 15 years after that." And he says, "Be as specific as you can, as specific as possible." He says, "It doesn't matter whether it's outrageous or not, just write it down. If it's something that you genuinely want to achieve, write it down." So I wrote a lot of stuff down, my short-term goals, 5 years, and my long-term goals as well. And I brought them back to him. He says, "I don't need to see it. I don't want to see it. Take them, put them in an envelope, put them away somewhere. Now for your long-term goals, just leave them somewhere for a while. For your short-term goals, from time to time, go back and take a look at them and see if you're still on track." And I did that for a while, for a few months, but young men and attention spans. I'd been working for a while. I was busy, all over the place, traveling a lot and doing a lot of things, and I, forgot about the list. And fast forward almost a decade later, just over a decade later, I stumbled across this list of my short-term and long-term goals. And I remember looking at that list, and I realized that without even knowing it, without trying, I had achieved quite a few of the items on that list. There were a lot of items I did not achieve, at least not in the way I'd written them down, but in some form I had achieved. In some other forms I hadn't achieved at all. And I remember looking at that list, and I remember feeling really good about the ones that I had accomplished and really horribly about the ones that I hadn't. And it got me thinking, that stupid list, I didn't even achieve all those things. What was the point of the list? And I tossed the list aside and I went on with my life. Now, a few years ago, I'd forgotten about these lists, but some of the items were burned in my head. I was lying down in bed on a Saturday morning. I'd slept in a little bit, and I just was lying there thinking and meditating. And all of a sudden, I started noticing things around my house, in my room, in my flat. And I noticed that I had certain things that were on my list all those years before. I mean, the list was oddly specific. I mean, things like wallpaper, a certain type of wallpaper, or pattern or design of wallpaper, the type of car I wanted to drive. I had a motorcycle on there, a very specific make and model and year, and the type of apartment I wanted to live in, and all sorts of things like that on that list. I didn't achieve them when I wanted to a few years before, and it made me ball up the list and throw it away in a corner, and I never saw it again. But a few years after that, I'd achieved everything and even more. The motorcycle I had wanted, I got a newer model. The car that I had wanted, I had a newer model. The wallpaper I wanted, I had the upgraded version of it. The flat that I wanted, I mean, everything that I had on that list. Some things I'd even gotten and kind of lost along the way because I'd gotten them and didn't even realize it. And that got me thinking about the objective of goals. See, a lot of us think that our goals are our objective. And that's not exactly true. Our goals are a guide. The objective is the objective. The goals keep us focused. They're the guardrails that keep us in line towards the things that we want to achieve. A lot of us make those goals our objective, and they're not. They're waypoints along our journey. If you're growing and if you're evolving, if you're developing, those goals will evolve and they will change and they will mature and they will become more sophisticated and better and bigger and whatever they are. My dad understood that all those years ago, and that's why he had me make two lists, the short-term goals and the long-term goals. And that's why he said to keep going back to look at them from time to time so that I can adjust myself to make sure I'm still in line, or so that I can adjust the goals to make sure that I'm heading in the direction of my objective. And that is so important for us so that we don't get disappointed when we don't achieve those milestones that we set for ourselves. Those milestones are not your objective. They are milestones. They are waypoints on your way to your objective. Those goals that you write down are so that you keep focus, so that you have a sense of direction and pace and tempo, and you can measure your progress. Your objective is your objective. And ultimately, I think that all of us have the objective to be happy and to be successful, whatever success means to us internally. It means to be at peace. It means to be satisfied. Those are our objectives. And at the end of the day, everything that we do in life is something that we think is going to help us achieve those things. So the car you want, the house you want, the wife or husband you want, the job you want, the salary you want, the friends you want, the vacation you want, all of those things are goals. But the objective is to be happy. And the objective is to be satisfied. And the objective is to be at peace and to have a good life. So don't lose track of your objective because you missed the milestones of the goals that you set for yourselves. The goals are supposed to be waypoints on your way. Don't put more priority on the goals over the objective. Realize that it is the road that you're traveling on. The objective is your destination. So the goals are important, but what's more important than the goals? Your objective. Anyway, I hope I was able to give you some food for thought today. And as always, be inspired.